Hello, dear friends. Here we are. This is the countdown to the 12th U.S. Spiritist Symposium, which is going to happen in Washington, D.C. And we have here with us friends who are already waiting for this moment. These are days, 21 days. We're counting down the days to the symposium. In 19 days, we're going to be there. Believe it or not, time really flies. It was just yesterday, the other day when we started this, and here we are. People may be asking, why are we going to do this? Well, first, because we're really counting the days, because there's a lot of work that is being done. And two, because we want to call you to this moment. Of course, you know, the work of the good on the earth is so important that we really need to enhance it. Tonight, we in our mediumistic meeting at the Spiritist side of Virginia, we got a beautiful message from the Spirit Mentor saying, light is the only thing there is. Don't pay attention to the shadows. Don't pay attention to the darkness. Light up, turn up the light and let there be light. And the United States Spiritist Symposium is certainly light that is being shed on this earth. And you're invited to call. As Emmanuel said in the book Living Spring, wherever there is light, if we're there, we won't be in darkness. So you can join forces with us. It's about the togetherness. The more, the merrier. We need people who are willing to turn up the light and really make light intensified on the earth. We need it more than ever on the earth. We need to shed this beautiful light. Yesterday, we were in DC doing the homeless service with the group, and we were able to distribute the postcards of the symposium in the streets of Washington, D.C., telling people who are walking in the streets about this beautiful event. We have, the honor of sharing this news. These are good news, the news of the good on the earth. And I'm not alone here in both realms of life. And physically, we're here with a friend who is on the behind the scenes of these efforts, together with the board of directors of the United States Spiritist Federation and with a Spiritist Center that exists in Atlanta, Georgia. Klaus Pessoa. He is here with us, and here he comes. Klaus, how are you? Thank you for joining us.
Hey, how are you? I'm glad. I'm so excited to be here. I'm always excited to when I'm speaking with you because you bring such a positive vibe on your show. I'm also glad to be talking about excited about the symposium, the coming up symposium. So it's always good to talk about good. It's always good to talk about good stuff. So I'm
Yes,
glad to be here.
and look who is here, right? Enilda, the adorable wife of Glaucio. She is here as
Yeah, she
well.
has to be here, right?
Of course. Always, right? The whole family. That's beautiful. It's good to have this family feeling around. Family is really the real deal. So thank you, Enilda, for being with us. And I know Rita de Cássia is with us. Am I right? Rita de Cássia is with us. Sérgio Santos is with us. Can you believe Ana Augusta is with us? I can't believe it. Ana Augusta with Luis Hu doing beautiful works for the children. Yesterday we had a conversation with Bernadette Leal about a beautiful program for children and youth in the symposium. The symposium, just for those who are watching us, the symposium is going to happen on April 21st. Many people ask why. Because Spiritism came with the first book, the first official step on April 18th, 1857. So the symposium happens as an effort. The first one happened for the 150 years of the Spirit's book by Kardec. And thereon it continued. The spirits that are guiding us, they really want us to think about this memorable day in which the Book of the Spirits came to bring us the enlightened answers to our daily questions. Believe it or not, 12 years later, here we are. Look at this. Enlightening answers to our daily questions. This is the 12th U.S. Spiritist Symposium. We're going to have different talks, roundtable discussions, workshops, activities for children and youth. It's a beautiful effort from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. It's not longer because sometimes we spend the whole day from 9 to 6 doing nothing. So this is doing the good on the day, right, Klaus? It's easy to do nothing, but I agree. It's not easy to do something good. We're working on it, right, Glaucio?
That's
Tell me a
correct.
little bit about the efforts of the behind the scenes, Glaucio.
Uh, First of all, they do start very early. I mean, we're talking about 8 months before the event. So you do mention that it's a day. You know, it's kind of like a working day. Let's say about 6 hours. But you know, the effort to start like way in advance, 8 months in advance, contacting different locations. Just the time and effort that Tanya and Sergio Santos, who is with us, they spent locating a good venue, the proper venue. Actually, you were involved as well, and Sonia Doyle, just locating the proper venue for the event. I mean, that was a tremendous task. And there are some other behind the scenes arrangements all the way to on the day itself. Actually, the day before, we're all going to be there taking care of all the technical details. So, and that's just the material. Of course, that's just what happens on the physical world. I can. We can have an idea or try to have an idea of the tremendous efforts that the spiritual world puts into an event like this and all the organization and inspiring us and being patient with us most importantly because I'm sure that they have to be so patient with us because we try to do what's right, we try to do the good things, but we make so many mistakes, and they try to guide us and inspire us, and sometimes it's a lot of effort on them as well. But you know, it just it happens early, and sometimes minute details. Sometimes something as simple as the location of the different setups for the, let's say for the cardiac radio and for the spiritist radio. Some as simple as that. It does take effort to make it happen.
You're
So
right.
it's a lot of details and the minute details, but it's a great fulfilling type of work.
You're right, Klaus. You know what's interesting is that we have the the preparation, and I remember in 2016 we were at the United Nations with a beautiful program for youth coordinated by Dr. Stephen Post, and we had cardiac radio there represented by Bia Lopes, who does cardiac radio for teens, together with Mark Smith and Carol Corey Smith. And we were there, and after we finished the program, we had lunch. Josara came along, and this was 2016, summer 2016. Josara Korngold was there, and she approached me and said, Vanessa, how about doing a symposium in 2018 in Virginia? And I said, I think Washington is the deal, right? Because
Hmm.
we're around the corner. Let's bring it to Washington first. And from there on, 2 years later, this is what we're marching towards. So it really begins in the material plane a long time ago. Imagine in the spiritual realm, right, Glaucio?
That's true.
Imagine.
Yes.
Yes, and the works finding the venue. The venue this year. Let's talk a little bit about the venue. It's the first It's the first time that our symposium is gonna happen in let's say a non-neutral venue. It's gonna be a more like spiritual venue. because it's a non-denominational church, but it's a very modern one. So it's very special, I think, because it's right in the core, at the core of Washington, D.C., and the environment is already so well prepared for this. So well prepared. I think, Glaucio, when we study Spiritism, Kardec talks about the spiritual fluids, talks about how our thoughts and feelings impregnate and give quality to the energy fields, the fluidic energies that are surrounding us. Now imagine you go to a place that is prepared, literally, for it. Now, what does it take on us, for those who are participating actively or going there to receive and also participate in another way? What would you say that potentially can enhance the experience for everyone? What would be the ideal attitude?
I'll say that I'll say the ideal attitude is openness, and I say and openness means different things to different people, but openness to learn more. I'll say openness in different aspects. The openness to learn more and more about spiritism, and that's the most important thing about the doctrine, is the this premise that there's always so much to learn and so much to grow, and also be open to your point, because I remember Tanya in one of our meetings, she was mentioning the location, and and she did mention to us that it was a non some sort of non-denominational uh, congregation. But she did mention the fact that it was very low, very central. So sometimes being open also to welcome brothers and sisters who might not be spiritists not yet, but who are learning and who are being attracted. One of the comments that one of the discussions that we had at the time about the venue is that it's good that it's a quote unquote non-neutral location, because it becomes a point to attract, a location to attract other people who are just curious about this doctrine. So be open to welcome new spiritists. Be open to the knowledge, and to be open to see new friends, and open to exchange ideas. I see, in my professional life, I love to go to any kind of professional, I'll say professional meetings for professional associations, because I get to network with people. So I think should also see the symposium as an opportunity to network with different spiritists from different centers in different states, or even in different countries, and network as well, and get to know them, get to know what they're doing. And that's the way for us to grow the Spiritist movement, is by staying in touch and getting to know each other.
Yes, the power of these connections. It's so interesting because Jesus said, make friends. And making friends is not like Facebook click of a button, right?
Mm-hmm.
You really need to connect and be open and listen to that person and see, man, we're not here together by chance, and see how we can boost each other's evolution together, because it's a law of society. Some people, Glaucio, they ask me, I don't need to go to events like this. I can be in the leisure of my home, and just through the internet. Well, in a way, if you're far away, I agree. There's no other way. But if you can make an effort and be together, there is a difference. There is a difference in being there, full body, physical, spiritual, mental, hopefully everything aligned, and doing that exchange. There is a difference, and it's important to be present, even physically. Because then at the level that we are, Glaucio, I don't think we're ready yet for these mental exchanges without the physical. That's why we need to be incarnated. We need the physical experience. Many people become spiritual people and they devalue the importance of being a physical body. And that is something we need to adjust, because when we are in the physical body, we have all of our senses bringing in information, and through the law of society, the exchange may be enhanced. So, of course, you're far away. Stay tuned through the webcasting. But if you can make an effort, and I have to share this, and Raquel Murray, who is a member of Cardiac Radio's team, and she's in New York, upstate New York. She wrote to me today. She has 4 kids, 4 beautiful children. A baby. We just saw her recently in an event in New York. And then a toddler, uh, another, I think a 5-year-old, and then an 8-year-old. And she wrote to me saying, I'll be there at the symposium. I just made arrangements with my husband and my in-laws. We'll leave very early, and then we'll come back at the end of the day after the symposium, but we won't miss it at all. And this is the beauty of somebody who is willing to be, not only to watch, but to roll the sleeves and say, I want to be a volunteer, I want to work, I want to be there. And there is, I would say this, quote unquote, a magical feeling in it, especially, forgive me for the enthusiasm, Glaucio, but Washington, D.C. is the capital of the United States of America. It's the first time we have an event, a national spiritist event at this magnitude, with these beautiful collective efforts of centers investing, believing in it, and speakers coming, sponsored by their own pocket, coming, joining forces and sharing their studies. It's, I don't think it exists on the earth yet, an effort of this magnitude, materially speaking, in a central location that is basically the capital of the world, if I may say it. What do you feel about it?
It's very interesting because when I first came to the U.S. Many years ago, the Spiritist movement in English was it's at its infancy, and Juan Durante, who was still reincarnated at the time, he made a very interesting comment. He mentioned, his comment was that the day Spiritism is widely spread in the U.S., that's the day when it's going to be widely spread in the world. So I thought I never forget that, and I always keep that in mind whenever in whatever activities in English I'm involved with. So I do see the significance of it. Of course, there's just so much work that we need to do for our brothers and sisters who are native English speakers. But to think that, you know, you always need a spark to start a fire, and part of me using kind of a dramatic analogy, but you will always need you need to start with something sometimes insignificant, but at the right place, the right time. So there is this connotation of this is the capital of this great nation. So it's a proposal for us to continue our efforts in spreading the light of Spiritism in the U.S. and in the whole world. So, and again, Washington is a special place. It is a place for us also to keep on our focus of our prayers, because that's where so many decisions are made that affect the country and the world as well. So whatever light, whatever additional light we can bring to Washington also is going to be benefit to all of us.
Yes, and Glaucio, I can't stop smiling because today is April 2nd. April 2nd for us Spiritists is a special date as well because it's the day we celebrate the reincarnation, the birthday of Spiritism, of Chico Xavier, Chico Xavier. 108 years ago, Chico Xavier reincarnated. The spirit that we named in that reincarnation, Chico Xavier. So, and as you were talking about Juan Durante, it just came to me the first trip that Chico Xavier did to this country in 1965, and then it only repeated in the flesh in 1966. Through this beautiful friendship with Salim Haddad and Phyllis, his wife, who were in North Carolina, Chico Xavier and Valdo Vieira came to the United States. One of the places where they visited was Washington, D.C. And there is a book, Among Brothers of Other Lands, published by the Brazilian Spiritist Federation as Entre Irmãos de Outras Terras, but in English it's Among Brothers of Other Lands. You can get it at odysseyofamerica.com. And that book has several messages that were brought by the spirits that were supporting them, guiding them during that trip, and there are messages that were received right in Washington, D.C. And reading the correspondence between Chico Xavier and Haddad, we had one of Chico Xavier's dreams was to see Spiritism flourishing in the United States. And he was investing on that effort in the English-speaking language. We have all the letters proving it to us that he was learning English. There were messages that he received in Portuguese, and then later another spirit came to translate the message into English, or other messages were received right there into English. And one of Chico Xavier's dreams was to see Spiritism widespread in the United States of America. So when I think of this meeting, this coming April, closing a cycle, I can't stop. I can't, it's impossible not to think of Chico Xavier. And today, thanks to him and his efforts, we are able to be at this moment. Like in a message that I have here, right here with me. Book Living Spring by Emmanuel through Chico. Chapter 125, titled Richly. Quoting from Paul to the Colossians, I guess, if I'm not mistaken. May the word of Christ dwell in you richly. You say you trust in the power of Christ. We're going to read a little bit before we wrap up, Glossio. But let's go back to Chico. How much we owe to Chico Xavier in the efforts of building together this symposium, right? How much of the
Right.
knowledge?
Mm-hmm.
You want to say something about it?
Oh no, just the collection of books now that we have in English, books by Manuel and Andrea Lewis. Those are the same books that enlighten us when during our spiritist journey, and it's great to see that there are so many books nowadays that are being translated in English, and they're also available to our brothers and sisters. So it's very exciting for us to see this content, this enlightening content that is available. Of course, the Spiritist Federation has done a tremendous work for translations. Other groups as well have contributed a lot. So there's so much literature in English nowadays by Chico. That's it's amazing, and it just that makes um, I would say make our work easier. In the lack of a better word, I was going to say make our life easier, but it's never easy. But it gives us the tools so we can convey the message to native English speakers.
Yes, you're right. So, you know, we would say to everybody, come to the symposium because I think if Chico Xavier were incarnated and he were living in the US, and God willing, of course, if God allowed, he would be there. Kardec wouldn't miss it either. Based on our studies on Kardec, so why are you gonna miss it? Tell me why. Send it to me. An explanation why you're gonna miss it. Because imagine the good spirits. It's not easy to put together these works of the good in both realms of life. And I'm gonna share something, Glaucio. When we had the March of Our Lives, for our lives, the youth of the country coming on March 24th, Kardec Radio was there. We brought with us the postcards to distribute in the streets and give
Wow.
it to people. But you know what happened? It didn't work. We had a group there with us, even Virginia, because for children it's easy to hand it to people, much easier than for us. We couldn't do it. We felt it was blocked. I said, oh my gosh, what are we gonna do? Okay, we didn't do it. Then this Sunday we were in DC again for another service and we brought our flyers. It was piece of cake.
Hmm.
I mean, compared to what we felt. And then I asked the spirit mentor Joseph, I said, you know, I don't get it. Why? He said, because nothing good that happens on earth begins before we begin it in the spiritual realm. We
Hmm.
have started it in the spiritual realm first because that's one of the mechanisms. Since the first symposium, I remember seeing in 2007 how the spirits would attract the attention of the wandering spirits by posting flyers and distributing flyers for the services they are going to provide during the symposium. So Mentor Joseph said, we do not begin any effort of the good in the material plane without first starting in the spiritual. And they said, we started it. And then you were able to start it too.
Hmm.
So it's very interesting because right now the efforts of two realms are so intense and we are very close to DC. We can tell that there is a something changing. It's in the air that there is a, it's almost like we're feeling the spirit of Christmas right around the corner and we're only in April. It's that feeling, Glaucio, of Christmas. And the message that I want to invite you to be with us at this moment as we prepare for the prayer to bring, harmony and serenity and solidity to everyone who is working on the behind the scenes into realms is this message by Emmanuel richly. The enthusiasm of Emmanuel bringing about this message is phenomenal. He says to us, can we ever light a candle if we remain in the dark? Can we display obedience if we praise rebelliousness? Can we ever teach serenity if we are inclined towards desperation? The word of Christ, can we proclaim the glory of love if we cultivate hatred? The word, the word. One second, I'm just adjusting here. Karen Mark Smith, I'm helping me adjust. Thank you, friends. Can we proclaim the glory of love if we cultivate hatred? The word of Christ does not ask us to progress in weakness or lamentation, as if we were words of ignorance. According to Paul's illuminated conceptualization, the good news should shine forth from our lives, dwelling in our souls richly. So be enthusiastic, right? We should be enthusiastic because this is really a symbol of the victory of the good on the earth. That's my take on it, Glaucio, isn't it? Don't you feel it, Glaucio?
Oh yes, I feel it. Definitely, it's definitely an opportunity to bring a little bit of light to the world. So definitely and that's why the spiritual world has invest so much energy. We think that we have this wrongful idea that we are working so hard, but actually the spiritual world is the one who's actually making it move. And they're the true movers and shakers. So that's why they're investing so much in an event like this.
And that's why we need to help them. That's why we're here praying and helping, right? Right,
Yep.
Glaucio?
Oh
Do
yeah.
you do you mind, Glaucio, if I ask you to say the
I'm already
prayer
here. You
for
might as
us?
well ask it, right? I'm
What can
sorry.
I say? Right? So we pray, asking for everybody who is with us. Let us, as Glaucio said, let us facilitate the work of the real workers. They count on our support. We cannot create obstacles. We need to make it easier. And our enthusiasm and diligence shall be facilitators, right? So let us visualize the beauty of this light being shed into our capital and spread out into the world. We're all yours, my friend.
Thank
Let
you
us
so
pray
much.
with Glaucio.
Okay. Thank you, Lord, for the opportunity for us to be here. It's always great to have opportunities in our nation to learn more about Spiritism, to be exposed to new knowledge. It is great for us to know that the spiritual world has been helping us so much in putting together the event in DC. Let us pray so that uh, everything happens accordingly and that we be there. I'd like to ask for the opportunity to bless um, everybody who's listening to Kardec Radio and bless all of our friends and families. Bless this country, bless the world. And we ask the permission to ask for blessings for ourselves as well and inspiration in our daily lives. We are not perfect, but with God, Jesus, and the help of the spiritual world, at least we can rest assured that we're going to be inspired to take the right path. So be it.
Beautiful. And here we have it. Glaucio, thank you very much for your time, for your kindness, for your joy. Thank you, Glaucio.
Thank you.
And hope to see you on April 21st.
I'll be
Thank you.
there.
Thank you. Thank you, Glaucio. Thank you, friends. And until tomorrow, God willing, for another day on our countdown to the 12th U.S. Spiritist Symposium. And it's only 19 days to go. Pack your bags because we're almost there. See you.